travel? We got all the travel buzz here on Smart People, Travelwise with Alvin Adriano on PHLV Radio.
Mabuhay and welcome everyone back to our show. My name is Alvin Adriano, CEO of Travelwise International, and I'm your host on today's show, Smart People, Travelwise. I'm so excited to be here, and as travel continues to evolve and as we closely monitor the situations around the world, there are many of us who are ready to start finding new adventures, new experiences, and of course, relax and rejuvenate. We are all looking for a way to get a way to break out of our normal routines and our experiences, a little bit of pampering and luxury, and everyone just needs a little bit of escape. Am I right? Who doesn't want to be spoiled? Well, this brings me to my special guest today. He's mastered the way to get pampered and to do it amazingly. He's finding ways and people to help them travel better. This is going to be a great interview, and I can't wait to bring him out. But before we get started, as a reminder for all of our viewers, if you are watching this live, please hashtag live. And if you're watching this on the replay, hashtag replay. Share where you're watching from so we can acknowledge all of our viewers. And don't forget to catch our show on Facebook and YouTube, or you can listen on the show on Amazon Fire, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Or even better, download the app PHLV Radio, available on all iOS and Android devices. So now, in this day and age, currency has been redefined in many ways. Currency used to mean cash, credit, and other forms of payment. But with the evolution of frequent flyer miles and options, the evolution of traveling with credit card benefits has too. There are many people who find loopholes and tricks that amaze us all every day. And today, I've been able to bring on a great colleague and friend to help us understand all about points and how to use them. And our special guest today is Jason Francisco. Jason is most proud of being a husband, a father, but he's also known as a blogger, world traveler, travel deal hunter, miles and points coach. Jason loves to travel the world with his wife and their 4 growing kids. What makes him unique is he's not exactly a travel agent, nor does he plan trips for others. He thrives in traveling the world for free or for less, using points earned with credit cards and their lucrative bonus offers. He was just in Hawaii. They spent 10 days on the island of Maui, where they used points for all of their airfare and accommodations, which was valued at $15,000. They were also just in Cancun, Cozumel, and Playa del Carmen earlier this year. They've been traveling all over Europe and Asia, and of course, they've used points earned through credit cards whenever possible. Now, in the fall, they'll travel back to Hawaii, to Oahu, New York City, and in early 2022, the Maldives, Dubai, and Abu Dhabi, flying first class and business class. His unique ways of traveling the world with his family were featured in Wall Street Journal, The Points Guy, Million Mile Secrets, a podcast interview with Geo Breeze Travel, and 2 huge Facebook communities, Families Who Love to Travel and SoCal Pinoys. So please smash those heart buttons and give Mr. Jason Francisco a well-deserved thank you for being here. Hey, Jason, how are you doing today, buddy?
Alvin, doing well. Thank you. Doing
Awesome.
well.
So I talked about your bio a little bit. We know your father, your devoted husband. We talked about like how you love to travel, but in your own words, how can you explain what it is and what you do?
Oh my gosh. I guess let's talk about the professional life really quick. I mean, my wife is a nurse. I am an auditor for a telecommunications company. Mm-hmm. And as you had covered, we have 4 kids. And so it's busy as it is. Life is busy with all of their activities. But outside of that, what I do, prior to learning how to use credit card miles and points, my wife and I and the kids, we love to travel, but we're so limited with our travels, like traveling, let's say, to Hawaii once a year prior to 2014 was probably like, woohoo, that was good enough. We were fortunate enough. But I learned along the way when I first got started. I did this around 2014. Mm-hmm. I was traveling. I'm here in Southern California. I was traveling quite a bit back east, mm-hmm. and I was staying at a Marriott hotel and flying United. Sure. And I was looking at. I didn't know anything about frequent flyer program, nothing like that. And I said, "How will this work for me?" it looks like I might get maybe one free flight or maybe one free night after spending so many trips or stays in these hotels. And so the internet, you just Google how to travel, how to get free flights, blah, blah, blah. It just one thing led to another.
Wow.
And I learned that there are credit cards out there that could make this possible, but it was just knowing which card to apply for. So that is how I started in a nutshell.
Wow. And so fast forward now, I mean, when we all, YouTube is, YouTube University, a lot of people learn tips and tricks there. While we were learning how to do Zoom and other things, we were learning how to travel better.
Right. I mean, exactly. I mean, it's such a difference now because back then, this is only like 2014. There was YouTube, of course, but it's not the same way that we use it now. There's just so much information out there, and you just really got to find this information.
Wow. No, and it's great because, and for you, I mean, getting into this, I guess, lifestyle or hobby, I mean, was it difficult to, get to learn the ropes, or was there a big margin of learning?
Right. Yes. I mean, what I can tell you, when I started, I really had no guidance. There was no Jason Francisco with a Facebook page. I mean, there were Facebook pages, don't get me wrong. But when I first got started, I was pretty much on my own.
Gotcha.
I was, one of the words that I kind of learned to apply most recently is the shiny card syndrome. It was flashing like Times Square or Las Vegas lights, 100,000 on a card like this. You get 2 free nights on a card like this. So Jason applied. You get X number of nights on a place like this. So Jason applied. Kind of like when you go into Macy's, when you go into Banana Republic or Victoria's Secrets, they have all of these. You save 10% off, with your purchase if you apply for a card. So they give you all of these shiny things, right? And so I just applied maybe for like 4 or 5 credit cards left and right without even having a plan.
Gotcha.
Right. And so that was, I don't want to say that was the problem, but that's when I started. I had no plan.
Gotcha.
And so, but I needed to really go back into my drawing board. I needed to have goals. I couldn't just have applied for XYZ credit cards without even having any goals.
Gotcha.
So I think that's one thing I wanted to make sure we share with our listeners and viewers.
No, that's great information. I think that's really important. I mean, even though what we're talking about is travel and leisure and luxury, there has to be a strategy in the way that you attack what it is, and planning your goals is very important. You don't want to end up just spending,
right,
and not know what you're actually saving up for or planning for. And I think that's an important thing that you mentioned, because that could be a reason why people don't, I guess, redeem or earn the points the way that they wanted to, because their plan, they didn't really strategize in the way that they wanted to.
Exactly. Absolutely.
So, I mean, when we talk about taking vacations, we mentioned like you family just took a trip to Hawaii. I mean, and you mentioned before you learned all this, taking a trip to Hawaii maybe once a year was great. But can you explain to the viewers how you're traveling now? How has this changed your life? And what has this been a good influence to you and your family?
Absolutely. I can tell you that with us having these points, we don't even think of how much is it going to cost.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm being honest and share that with you. Like, oh my gosh, it's going to cost us $600 per person to go to Hawaii in the middle of the summer. Oh my goodness, to get a suite. We don't think about how much in dollars is it going to cost, because we have these points and we know how much these points are valued and how much they can get us. And just for instance, we not only this year, this year alone, we're actually going to Hawaii twice. Oh, wow. And we're able to, without even thinking, we have the points and I know the value of these points. And so we easily book them and not so much use the word squander. I think I want to make sure I say that. Not so much squander, but unlike having your personal money, I mean, you want to make sure and save with these points. It's really not good for you to hold on to them for a very long time.
Yeah,
because things get devalued, right? Yeah. And so it's, there is a term in our world, you earn these points and you burn these points.
Gotcha.
Because what is worth today could be different tomorrow.
Gotcha.
And so that is one thing that's different with our family is I now tell the kids, we're going to Hawaii this summer. We already have places to stay. And they know well enough that we will be cared for because we don't even have to worry about where we will stay or how we will get there. All they got to do is pack up and show up. That's really one thing that's different now. Is it's afforded us that kind of convenience and that kind of a lifestyle.
Wow,
So.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think when you start being able to reap the benefits and understand the value of what vacationing and traveling together as a family, there are intangible things that you learn that make you want to travel more.
Right.
And we talked about it earlier. My family's been in the travel industry for my entire life, and it's been an interesting experience because, like you, being able to travel at a young age really opens up your children, your family to all types of different opportunities. Being able to just see the world in a short period of time. And then as you grow up and develop, you really have a love for people, culture, and just humanity in itself.
Absolutely. I mean, it gives you a different perspective because knowing your background, I didn't have that background.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, I remember when you shared that with us because growing up, I didn't know any families with a travel agency background or just like the way that your family had. But growing up, I had friends whose families had military backgrounds.
Yeah.
And so I have friends who were born in Guam, in the Philippines, in Japan, somewhere around the world. And I'm thinking, again, when I was 10, 12 years old, I'm thinking, oh gosh, I want to go there. I wish I could go there, or they were stationed from XYZ base to another, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I didn't have that. My dad was not in the military.
Yeah.
So not that I regretted my mom or dad not being in the military, but it was just something different that, I wish I had that. And so I think this is as close. I am not in the military, but I think this is as close as I can for me to show the world to my kids.
Yeah.
Right.
My dad was in the military. And so that was kind of the love where it began because we were always stationed in different places.
Right. See,
so
you were the one that I hated.
was the one. I was the one.
You were the one.
So
Where were you born?
I was born. Where was I? Charleston, South Carolina. But I grew up in Italy. I grew up in Italy.
Right. There you go. Oh, poor boy.
Yeah. So and that's the best part of what's happening with travel. We're finding out that there's so many ways to travel, so many ways to pay for travel, so many experiences that you can do. That there's a way for everyone. And so whether it's points, purchasing, traveling with relatives, whatever, there's something for everyone. And so I definitely want to highlight that, regardless of how we are travel professionals, everyone has a certain way to travel, and it's a blessing to have Jason on here to show us his perspective. And really, it's not for everyone, right? I think
it isn't.
Yeah.
It isn't. I mean, speaking of credit cards, those who are learning about this for the first time. Gone are the days, at least when I grew up, my mom and dad, they taught me well enough that when you sign up for a credit card, make sure you pay your bills on time. Mom and dad, if you're listening, my dad's gone. I don't know if my mom ever told me to pay it in full, to be perfectly honest with you.
Okay.
I think she mentioned to make sure my bills are paid on time and my credit score will be okay. Mm-hmm. And I did so, right? But with this hobby, not only do you need to pay in full on time, but it's also very wise and good for you to begin paying things in full. And this is a very hard concept, especially for those who are used to having cash around, or let's say if you buy a brand new iPhone or a brand new TV worth $1,000, I'm just going to pay $100 next month and pay the next few months, with some kind of installment.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't do that anymore, but if you are to do what I do, as far as earning points with these credit cards, it's really not the way to go, because these credit cards, well, they offer you so many great offers with points or hotel perks, etc., they really do not have the best APRs. We're talking 19, 20%.
Oh, wow.
And to be perfectly honest with you, whenever I apply for new credit cards, I don't even look at the I don't want to say I don't look at the details. That's not what I'm saying. But I don't look at the interest rate because in my mind, I am committed to that Jason will pay for this in full and on time. And so I think this is the reason why I want to make sure, and I'm glad you asked that question. It is not for everybody, but this is for somebody who is willing to go that path and go that route because there's so many opportunities for you to pay for things in full and on time, and you will definitely reap the rewards.
Awesome. And I love your transparency. I think that's very important. With any type of luxury that you're doing, there is some type of responsibility that you have to have. And just like anything, I mean, it is a game that you're playing because you're trying to take advantage of all the benefits, but you have to be responsible enough to make sure that your finances and your livelihood isn't put into danger. And,
right. And I think, Alvin, we might as well touch on this. When you and I spoke, earlier. I mean, especially in the Asian community, in the Filipino community, maybe I think the notion is still there that credit cards are bad.
Yeah.
Right. What's the word in Filipino? Utang. Right. And again, in my defense, in the defense of those who are responsible, it is only bad if you are really signing up for the sake of racking up your debt and not paying for your bills in full and on time. Yes, there is no doubt. I am not even going to deny that there is no doubt. Yes, you will go into utang. You will go into debt. Right. But the credit card companies reward us, those of us who are paying your bills in full and on time, and you can get one card after another if you want, and really have this kind of a lifestyle. So I want to make sure that we cover that because there are really rewards for those who do this and not plan on going into debt.
No, I think that's really, really important. I think, when we talk about like credit cards, Filipinos aren't very keen on using credit cards as much because we're so used to, credit cards feels like you're overspending. Why would you spend that if you have cash to pay? Right. But I love that you mentioned that because I guess it's a mind shift that we have to think about because it's not really, it's leveraging your spending in a way where you are getting benefits for spending money on this type of card or this bank. And so they give you incentives. And so I love the fact. So when you leverage your point or your spending, you're really just funneling all of your expenses to this one card to hit these bonuses. Is that kind of like how
that's really it? I mean, if you and I were sitting right next to each other, Alvin, I mean, I'll show you my wallet. I don't have any cash. I really don't. It's probably not a good thing because, I've been into some stores where only cash is allowed and then I just walk out. Right. But truly, at the end of the day, in our family, especially with our kids, they have their own card or something, or they would borrow one of our cards because every single dollar spent equates to some kind of a cashback opportunity or a points earning opportunity. And so in our case, we don't get me wrong, we do have cash and maybe lying around on our safe or whatnot, but it is not something that we need to have all the time with us because especially in the US, 9 out of 10 times wherever you go, a merchant that we always go to will be accepting a credit card. And if they don't, fine, we'll go ahead and take out cash. But it is just it's just a lifestyle that, use a card whenever possible and reap the rewards from them.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, definitely strategy involved. Being able to leverage how you're spending it and having value. I love what you said, where you said every dollar matters because it equates to a point. Right. And that's how you're leveraging your spending in a way where you can use it to apply to travel. Every thing is maximized. Yeah. So a big question to me, and I'm sure you get this a lot. So do you have like 1,000 credit cards or like how many cards do you really have?
Not 1,000. I mean, I actually lost count. And I think my wife and I agreed we have around 30 to 40.
Okay.
And so to those who are watching and listening, pick yourself up from the floor. Okay, not all of those cards are being used.
Okay.
Okay, in my world, we have what's called a sock drawer card.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have an XYZ credit card and I applied and I meet the minimum spend, and let's say there's no annual fee on that card.
Mm-hmm.
Once I get the bonus or the perks from that card, I just store that and put that away in my sock drawer or maybe in our little filing cabinet.
Okay.
So not every card is being used, especially the cards that do not have any kind of an annual fee.
Mm-hmm.
One tip is, do not close those cards. If there's no annual fee, it does not hurt your credit. It actually, especially the older cards, if they have no annual fee, best to just keep them in your account. Maybe use it once a year or something, at least do some kind of activity.
Yep.
But again, pay it in full right away. And but it's best to store or keep the older cards because it will help you with your credit history.
Yeah.
So Alvin, the long story, the short answer is maybe about 30 to 40 credit cards is what we have today.
Wow.
Just this year alone. And again, I am not bragging. Okay, I hope I'm not coming across as bragging. But this year alone, and I counted this, we applied for 7 to 8 credit cards this year alone. And we've met all of the minimum spend. We've met all of the minimum spend. And again, some of them are being tossed away, or being set aside as a sock drawer card. Mm-hmm. The others are getting their mileage from us. They're getting used regularly. So
with all of this, with all of, I guess, these rules, the fine print that people are
mm-hmm.
dealing with, would you suggest people, I guess, get educated first on credit? And the game and the rules to play on credit before they get into it, because it's not easy to apply for credit cards. You have to have a certain credit score. You have to have, I believe there's a rule, the 524 rule.
That's correct,
right? Could you explain that to people or our viewers?
Sure. I mean, before I go over the 524 rule, as far as the fine print, reading the fine print, I think, Alvin, there is one thing that you and I, no matter how much we educate folks, mm-hmm. it's really not something that we can easily teach. It's discipline. Mm. It's really innate. It's mm-hmm. truly something that you have to be committed to. It's discipline to pay your bills in full and on time. Because I think I made this point clear to our listeners a while ago. If you're in this just for the rewards and then pay $25 a month, just the minimum, it's not going to work, folks. Because you might think that you're only paying $25 a month, but the banks will charge you all of these interest charges. And so you might get a free plane ticket, but you're actually paying more for it in the backside, and you might not even realize it.
Gotcha.
Right? So discipline is definitely key. Albert, you asked about the 524 rule, and I'm glad you asked that because, first of all, I am not sponsored by Chase. All right. I do share and talk about Chase a lot in my Facebook travel page because their points are so lucrative. They have a lot of bonus points that you can earn from these credit cards, mm-hmm. and almost any blogger that you talk to out there, those who are focused in points earning rewards, kind of a travel, they will tell you that the Chase cards are really the best cards to get first. And so let's talk about 524. Think of it like 5/24. Mm-hmm. All right, 24 refers to the number of months. In this case, 24 months. Okay. The number 5 is it's asking you how many cards did you open in the past 24 months?
Wow. Okay.
Right. So in this case, these are all personal cards, mm-hmm. not business credit cards. All right. So in the past, so if you say, you know what, I only opened up a Banana Republic card, mm-hmm. let's just say, in the past 24 months, then you are there for 124.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Okay. So now that you're listening to this, and I hope if your takeaway is, you know what, I am disciplined, I'm going to begin applying for these types of credit cards. And let's say you apply for a Chase Sapphire Preferred, which is one of the best credit cards out there. They actually increased their bonus just yesterday. Brand new bonus of 100,000 points with all of these earnings potential. Anyway, if your score, I want to say if it's 700 points or higher, you have a pretty good chance of getting approved for that card.
Okay.
Because you are under 524.
Okay.
But let's just say that in the past 2 years, you applied for 5, 6, 7 or more cards. You applied for a Lowe's card, a Home Depot, a Big Lots, a Victoria's Secrets, and a Citibank card, a Costco card, whatever. And you are over 524. Even if you have the best of the best credit scores, even if you make hundreds and maybe 6 or 7 figures, it's not about your income, it's not about your credit score, but Chase will consider you as ineligible because you have opened 5 or more cards in the past 24 months.
Gotcha.
So many of those will tell me, Jason, I have 800 score and I pay my bills in full and on time. But unfortunately, because you've opened 5 or more, Chase will decline you. And you can try and fight for it, but Chase, and I'm glad we're talking about this. You cannot call Chase. Well, according to 524 rule, Chase has not put this in writing that we are Chase. We have a 524 rule. They have not publicized that, but it's just a golden rule with the folks in the community with all of these data points.
Gotcha.
That if you have 5 or more, Chase will decline you.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And I'm glad you brought up a couple of the cards out there. And what we're talking about are bank with travel specific benefits, maybe airline, hotel rewards, not store cards.
Right. You know, because back in high school, like, oh my gosh, I want a Gap card. You know, I want an Aeropostale card or something.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. I mean, folks, if you're doing that, I'm not saying it's bad, but if you are considering doing something like this, there are more lucrative cards out there than getting a store credit card. Okay, so you need to really weigh your options. You know.
So I just wanted to be clear because, you know, when you talk about shiny new things, a lot of people, I get a free tote bag. Let me sign up for credit cards.
Or Walmart's offering 2 cans of sodas or something. You know? I mean, I see that. You know, absolutely.
But yeah, so the credit card thing, it really blew up. This became like basically a form of currency in a way where you can buy trips. And so do you think in the future, this will be a form of currency in a way where we can pay for stuff with points, not only travel, but other travel related things like maybe travel services, maybe Lyft drivers? Like, how is this evolving more and more into the future?
I mean, I can tell you that gone are the days when a credit card was just a way of you paying for something. You know, there are many credit cards out there that offer so many benefits. Just like last night, I bought Uber Eats, a chirashi bowl worth $15 or something. I used my American Express Gold, and I was able to get $10 off of that, right? And so because a lot of these credit card companies, they offer some kind of a dining credit, or you you know, if you have the Chase Sapphire Preferred or Reserve, if you have a Peloton, you can get like, I think $10 or $20 off per month. And so there are so many things that more than meets the eyes these days. They're not just a card for you to swipe and buy and pay on a regular basis, but there are so many things, and so I am not sure if the credit card points are going to be the next Bitcoin of some sort. All right, but I can tell you that that these credit card points have afforded us many worldly travels. We've stayed in 4- and 5-star hotels. You know, we've got upcoming trips. You know, first of all, you know, we have a big family. Flying coach is good enough for us. You know, we never really desired that we all have to fly first class or anything like that. But now that our kids are grown and now that we can leave them alone or maybe with family, you know, my wife and I are now beginning to take on trips that we would not even have entertained in our lives in the past, even before earning credit cards. You know, we were supposed to go to Japan last year. That didn't happen because of COVID. We couldn't go this year, obviously, because of COVID again. But we had 2 first-class tickets from LA to Tokyo round trip via ANA. And if we paid for that in cash, Alvin, it would have been $17,000 per person.
Yeah.
$34,000. There's no way. That's a Tesla.
Yeah.
You know, there's no way I'm going to buy $34,000 worth of tickets out of pocket. But speaking of currency, these points were able to get us those tickets. We're gonna go to the Maldives, flying business class Qatar Q suites,
That's
and then on the way back, we're gonna fly Etihad first class from. If you're in DC, we're gonna be in DC when we go from Dubai to DC. And this is gonna be next year, first class, and I would not even dare pay for this in cash.
Yeah.
Because we're talking thousands of dollars. But now that we have the points, we're leveraging these points to help pay for our vices, if I may, which is to travel around the world. And so that's the way that we are leveraging these cards to help pay for our trips, to maybe pay for our foods, or in some cases you get credits, whether it's a car service or maybe your own exercise machine. These are just some of the perks that we are seeing as trends with these cards.
No, that's awesome. And I love everything that you had to say about that, because, it's cool how you've managed to put it all together in a way where you've, applied it so that you guys can travel. I mean, I remember when I started doing points, I got a free vacuum. I've got a TV. And now that I see what you're doing, I'm just like, man, I should have got points. I should have used it to fly. I'm in the travel industry. What was I thinking? I'm looking at my vacuum. I said, that could have been the Maldives trip.
If it's a Dyson, it's okay.
Yeah. Well, it's a Dyson. I don't know. I'll trade you my vacuum for the Maldives trip.
Right.
But that's awesome. I'm so glad that you're here to explain it to us, because these are things that people just don't realize that they have the power to do. It's not hard. It just takes strategy, really planning, and then being able to understand what it is that you're doing, be responsible with your bills, and then applying it so that you can take advantage of every aspect of spending.
Right.
Oh, were you gonna say something?
No, I was just gonna say, when you mentioned about strategies, because folks are probably asking, Jason, what are you paying for? Because obviously we're earning a lot of points. Again, something I took notes earlier before getting on this interview, because, and again, not everyone has the same expenses as we do. I'm sure your expenses are very different from mine, but I look at expenses as not as oh my gosh, I got to pay that, but more like, oh my gosh, you know what? We have to pay that. And maybe I could get a card and maybe earn points from it. Yeah. I mean, that's the way I think now. I mentioned to you that we have 2 kids in college, and Alvin, dorm is not cheap. Books are not cheap. Tuitions are not cheap. There was one time when my son was still in high school, he was going to be applying for different colleges. We were in Hong Kong. My wife and I were about to fly back to the US. And I told him, go ahead and apply for as many colleges as you want, or go ahead and begin the application. And when we come home, we'll pay for it. Right. And so instead of worrying about how to pay for them, I applied for a brand new credit card in preparation for his college applications. So basically I turned his 8 to 10 college applications as bonus points. Gotcha. We were able to earn free tickets from them. And so that's the way that I want our listeners or viewers to begin thinking about these expenses, that if you plan well ahead enough, you can turn these points and make them really work for you.
Yeah.
So
awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think a lot of listeners are going to be able to just think about reevaluating how they look at spending, looking at all the opportunity that they're missing out, and then really assessing what do they want to do, how they want to apply these their points in goals, and like what you said, where do they want to go in the future, and how can they reach those by leveraging their spending.
Right.
I think one of the biggest questions for most people, especially for me, is that we see trends in travel where places are hot right now, and so with, I guess, using points as a form of currency to purchase, do you see trends where, for instance, Maldives is really hot right now because everyone can go there? Does the points really increase, or does it stay the same no matter what season? Because
good question. I mean, I've seen them both. the flights that I have going to and from the Maldives are pretty set. I mean, I have a source that tells me, okay, when you book that, you should not be spending more than, let's say, 70,000 American Airlines miles.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or if you book this flying back, you should not be spending more than this amount of miles. And so, and again, I say that with caution though, because things do change. Things get devalued. And so what's 70,000 today could be 75,000 tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so it's all about knowing how to best use these points and really make them work for you. When we went to the Philippines, right before the pandemic, around December, 10 of us flew to the Philippines. Out of the 10, 7 of us flew for free.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Just Coach, I think, what did we fly? EVA. And again, this is right around Christmas into the new year and back. And so, Alvin, how much is it? I mean, you should know this. How much is it, Coach, from SoCal to Manila round trip in December?
We're talking, yeah, and you're probably between 1,000 to 2,000, depending on how late you are. Exactly.
In this case, we flew actually on the night of December 25th. It's still very expensive because I think 24th and prior would have been more expensive. And so it was around over like $1,000 round trip. But we used points. 7 of us flew round trip. We even did like a 10-hour stopover in Taipei. We went to Din Tai Fung and we explored Taipei for like 10 hours. And so and so that's the thing. But during off season, because obviously that is high season, right? I was able to book my sister-in-law tickets to Manila using points for around 35 or 40,000 points. So again, it just depends on the season. There are some that are dynamic and some that are pretty set. And so I just knew better that no matter what I did, it'll be expensive in the Philippines in December and January.
Gotcha. Yeah, I always wondered if there was like, in the groups of people who do the points thing, they're like, oh, wow, Tahiti's cheap right now. It's only 50,000 points. Everyone start booking,
Right. Right. I mean, there are certain there are certain deals like that, but especially with something like actually anywhere in the world, really, that when you travel during the holiday season, it's just expensive, whether it's cash or points to begin with. And so we knew, well, we don't want to spend $7,000 or $8,000 for 7 of us, and so we had the points. And again, this is one of those things where we didn't even think of the dollar amount. We just went with it. And, mom wants, it's our first trip since my dad passed away. And so the 10 of us, I had my brother and my sister-in-law and their daughter, the 10 of us, including my mom, planned without even thinking about it because we had the points. That's how different our lifestyle is now.
Yeah.
We don't even shy away. Like, there's no way we're going to be traveling around the holiday season. We went for it.
So how, when you start talking about travel, how do you plan your destinations, or where do you go? Do your points dictate where it is, where you'll go, or do you just kind of like, hey, we really want to go here, this is our goal, this is what we'll take to get there, and then the whole family spends like that? I'm glad you asked that. That's a very good question. I don't have a bucket list anymore.
I don't I don't have a thing like, oh, I gotta make it to Zurich next time or whatever. I don't have that anymore. I go where the deal takes me.
Gotcha.
And so right now I've got, I think the next big trip really is the Maldives. But after that, I don't have anything planned because I'm waiting for kind of like where the next deal will take me.
Gotcha.
And I just know that, in some kind of confidence that I will have some kind of points to use for that trip. And so that's how I lead my travel life these days. Wherever, like if we see something, if we read something, if we watch something on YouTube or maybe some Facebook ad, hey, let's go there,
Gotcha.
And so that's how we go about our trips nowadays.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. Where instead of saying, I hope we go there, it's like, I don't know when we'll go there, but we'll get there. We'll get there one day.
Right. Alvin, I think I shared this with you a few weeks ago. We went to Iceland in 2017. And if you asked me prior to 2017, I would not even tell you or pinpoint where in the world and on the map is Iceland. I've heard of Iceland, of course, but I just didn't know about the Northern Lights.
Uh-huh.
Did not know anything about it. But when a deal struck, we did not use points. We found a deal for like $99 one way from LA to Iceland, one way for $99. Of course, we did it. You know, it was Coach. You know, but I think I was born for Coach. I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
You know, so we went for it, and so we are adventurous like that because we do not restrict ourselves. You know, we only have to fly first class. We only have to fly business class. You know, we're open to any kind of travel. So I think that makes it even more adventurous for us.
That's awesome. There's some humility in all of this, you know.
Right.
Expect Coach.
Right.
It's always nice to get first class.
Exactly. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, to be honest with you, we've only flown business class twice. Once to Peru, and once between Hong Kong and Taiwan. But everything else, Alvin, Coach, and I mean, I've got folks who do not agree with my lifestyle.
Yeah.
But guys, again, my lifestyle is different. My needs are different. I've got 4 kids. If we flew first class and business class all the time, we probably would not have gone around the world the way that we've done.
Yeah.
So it's just I used whatever was applicable to us.
Well, you know what you can do is if you are really upset, you can just, you know, threaten them, put them in Coach, and
Right. I could do that.
keep talking. You're back in Coach.
Exactly.
In middle seat, if that.
Exactly. Yep. We'll do that.
So awesome. You know, for all of our viewers, you know, if they wanted to get into this hobby, if they wanted to get started, where can they follow you? You know, what social media handles can they follow you on?
Sure. I'm active on 2 platforms. One is Instagram. I mean, you can follow me on Instagram. It's at daddy.travelsnow. Okay, that's me on Instagram. And I think what sets me apart on Instagram is I don't always talk about credit cards. You will see me post about you know, the food that I ate, or you know, like the sunset, me appreciating the sunset. So it's not always you know, promoting a credit card. You know, but definitely what you will see on Instagram is you will see that I'm really a family oriented guy. That again, I'm happy as long as I can bring my kids, my wife, and my extended family anywhere around the world, traveling for less or using points. So that's on Instagram at daddy.travelsnow. And then I also have an active Facebook travel page community. It's quite lengthy, so I hope, Alvin, you can post this later on your on the post. But it's Daddy Travels Now, miles, points, dim sum, and then some. All right. And the reason why it's dim sum and then some, I explained to you. I'm not always there to preach and to preach credit cards. You know. I promote traveling with carrying things less instead of always bringing a lot of things. You know. Again, I share food. I share an Amazon deal about a battery charger. You know, so it's not always credit cards, but I get a mixed bag of things that I share. And again, ensuring that my goal is, Alvin, you know. I would love for everybody to be traveling, but you and I know that it's not meant for everybody.
Yep.
But truly, folks, you know, those who are watching or listening, you could be traveling just to the next city, to go to your go to your state capital. You know, go to the beach. You know, that you don't have to go travel far and wide. But anything that will enhance your daily living, that is one thing that I definitely promote.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here. You know, I know you're a busy person. I do want to also highlight, like, this, you also have a regular job. You do this on the side. This isn't just your full-time job. This is something that you do on the side to supplement your lifestyle. And I think that's also something that people should realize. You can have another job doing this. Absolutely. As long as you have a plan.
Absolutely. Definitely.
So with that said, Jason, is there any final advice, tips that you want to say to all the viewers before you leave?
One thing that you will learn from me is if I, and Alvin, you kind of just covered this actually. If I, a guy with 4 kids, my wife, a full-time job, you know, I'm just a guy. I've got a mortgage payment. I feel like I'm an Uber driver to my kids. I go to football games and basketball games and volleyball games. I'm really just a regular guy. I cook. And so I look for the deal. I mean, if someone like you, like me, can do this, anybody can. You just really gotta make sure you go to the right resource, and if you join or follow me on Facebook and on Instagram, I would gladly welcome you into the group and give you the best advice that I would also give myself. So I would like to make sure I impart that with those who are following.
Thank you so much. And Jason, I just love your authenticity, your love to educate people, because it really helps building a community and just allowing people, because the beauty of travel is the reason why we do the things that we do. It's a beautiful thing to be able to show experiences to your children and pass it on forward. It just helps us connect to each other. And I love the way that you've leveraged your spending, leverage the hobbies and the things that your strength, and to apply it so that you can bring these gifts to your family and to other people that you're educating as you speak. So thank you for being here today. I would love to have you again in the show to give us an update and just, again, touch base with all of our viewers to let them know how things are going. So
absolutely. Anytime. You just holler, let me know.
Awesome. So again, thank you, Jason, for being here. It's been an awesome time. Thank you for all your insights and knowledge.
Thanks, Alvin. You're welcome.
Welcome. So Jason's hobbies have been able to find ways to maximize his spending and create opportunities to travel the world. Through his experience, he hopes to help educate people on the power of leveraging their spending and finding alternatives to pay for their travels. With his unique system, he has been able to enjoy some of the most luxurious properties and airlines in the world while remaining budget friendly. His knack for inspiring others has led to a community that he fosters to help those following in his footsteps. I really love Jason's story and how genuine he is. His love for people and travel is so infectious, and I really hope we can have him back on the show to provide more tips and advice. Although both Jason and I travel differently, our love of travel is still inherent, which is why I love traveling so much. The beauty of traveling from others is the key, having really memorable experiences that you'll foster for the rest of your life. I love that Jason and others have found a way to travel that suits them and is a lifestyle that is important to the way that they live, the preferences, and the things that they value most. We all have unique personalities and preferences, and I'm so glad to have many perspectives shared on this platform. It's important to always share our ideas and help create opportunities for those itching to help others. So no matter your preference, if you have that travel itch, you can always contact me or Jason. Our travel agency is Travelwise International at 301-248-8898, or you can visit on the web at www.itravelwise.com. We would love to help plan an amazing experience for you and your family, but thank you so much for all our viewers, for Jason and his family. Without all your support and his participation, we would not be possible. So we are thrilled to be able to share our knowledge and experience with all of you guys. Smart People Travelwise airs every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Pacific time and 3 p.m. East Coast time. And my name is Alvin Adriano, CEO of Travelwise International, a Filipino-owned and operated travel agency that's been dedicated to serving the Filipino community since 1989. So thank you again for joining us in today's episode. Mabuhay. Till next time, smart people travel wise.